Luke chapter 5, verse 31 and 32. And Jesus answering said unto them, They that are whole need not a physician, but they that are sick. I came not to call the righteous, but sinners to repentance. I came not to call the righteous, but sinners to repentance. Now, straight away, we see a characterization of the ministry of Jesus. He came to call sinners to repentance. So if you have a ministry or you have a situation where one is claiming to be of Jesus, one of the characteristics of a Jesus ministry, if you like, an expression of Jesus, is the fact that it comes to call sinners to repentance. Now, right now, we are talking about tell my people to return to me, which is a reference to the church. So if we're talking about the church, we're of course not talking about sinners as per unbelievers. However, you can notice the import of this in the church in that the two fellows on the road to Emmaus with Jesus, they were later to say, Did our hearts not burn while he yet spake with us? A true Jesus ministry is going to produce an impact on the heart such that, as he says in the case of Stephen, when he addressed the council, he says when he said those things, they were pricked to the heart. Pricked to the heart means something happened to their conscience. And the conscience is the seat of moral judgment, as it were. That is a judgment between right and wrong. So there's no way to be Jesus that there will not be a corrective element, a call to the right way of God, a call to the righteousness of God. So it may not be a direct reference to sin, but a call back to the ways of God. Now, outside the church, of course, it is going to have to be about sin and repentance from sin and the sacrifice of Jesus on the cross for sin. That is not to say, for example, in a church assembly you won't find sinners of the unbelieving type there. But in the talk, there will be the sense of a calling back to the ways, the right ways of God. That's one. Now we see another such similar statement of Jesus in John chapter 10, verse 37. He says, If I do not the works of my Father, believe me not. If I do not the works of my Father, believe me not. Acts 2:22, we are already mentioned at the beginning. It says, you men of Israel, you know how that God proved Jesus of Nazareth among you by the miracles, signs, and wonders which he did through him. So right there, we see something of the works of the Father. Jesus made that clear. He said, whatever you see me do, they are the Father in me doing the works. So we can recognize Jesus today when we see something of what looks like the Jesus that is in the Bible. His disposition, his mien, let's call that his swag, but not swag in a human way, but a certain air around him. That's why I used the word earlier, his disposition. Jesus was only interested in what the Father was interested in. A certain man asked him, will you make me whole? And Jesus said, I will. Why? He knew the mind of the Father was to restore the sick or the brokenhearted, as it were. He said how that God anointed Jesus with the Holy Ghost and with power, and he went about doing good. It's easy to know. You see it in the choices, in the preferences, in the preference, in the direction of service, as different from self-centeredness. In John 5:31, we see another similar statement from Jesus. He says, if I bear witness of myself, my witness is not true. So let us be mindful of self-witnessing as different from witnessing which points at Jesus or which points at the works of the Father. Then Jesus said, but I receive not testimony from man. I receive not testimony from man. It's very easy to get carried away and begin to think that you are something in yourself when people begin to testify of you. And now we start to gravitate towards where they speak well of us, where they give testimony of us. Now we suddenly want to be introduced with high-sounding words, with titles. We suddenly want to be introduced with a record of things that we have done, because it shows that we are established in the ministry. So I receive no testimony from man. So don't talk about me. I came to talk about the Father. Don't talk about me. Let's talk about the Father. But he wasn't done there. He also said in John 5:41, I receive not honor from men. Look around you. He said, I receive not honor from men. I don't receive the witness of men. I don't receive the testimony of men. I don't receive honor from men. You can know if we know what to look out for. We can know if we know what to watch out for. He didn't hide these things. He said that. In John chapter 17, verse 4, Jesus, he's talking to the Father, and he says, I have glorified thee. I have done the works that you gave me to do. He said, I have glorified thee. He wasn't pointing at self. He was pointing at the Father. So that which seems to point at self, vainglorious, let us be careful. He says, tell my people to return to me. Now you see, in these and many other statements, Jesus was telling us something about which he is now saying, return to me. He was giving us an idea about the disposition of heart with which he walked. It was never about himself. Even when they wanted to make him king. Now that particular example proves the point. Who would not be one to be made king? Especially when today we see that as opportunity to preach the gospel. We see it as a platform, a major platform from which to preach the gospel. What did Jesus do? He turned around and ran. God says, tell my people to return to me. There are pointers enough in the scriptures to help us in the way back to God in Christ. He is asking us to return to the way of Christ. But our time is up for today. We will do this again, same time tomorrow, in another edition of this series of daily broadcasts, in which God is saying, tell my people to return to me. God bless you.